Welcome to Season 7 of Wellness as a Way of Life for Women Building the Future. I'm Megan Swan, wellness coach, consultant, and strategist, here to champion visionary women who are shaping tomorrow. This season, we dive into holistic wellness practices, mindset shifts, and real life stories from women who are leading change in tech, entrepreneurship, and beyond. My mission is to help you integrate wellness into every facet of your journey, so much so that it feels like a way of life. So you can show up as your most vibrant and impactful self. You can be a part of the movement by subscribing to my Substack for exclusive wellness tools, inspiring interviews, and a thriving community of future builders. There is a free and soon to be paid option launching this fall. And if you enjoy this episode, share it with a friend who's building the future too. All right, listeners, buckle up because today's guest is a force of nature, a true soul sister, and one of my favorite humans on the planet. I'm beyond excited to welcome Hailey, the powerhouse founder of KAIA, to the show. Hailey isn't just shaking up the funding world, she's flipping the whole damn table, or more accurately, just building her own. Through KAIA, she's building an emerging funding marketplace that's democratizing access for female founders and elevating the lives of every single contributor who believes in funding female genius. If you ever wished the world had more women calling the financial shots, Hailey is literally making that happen. She's on a mission to unlock the most powerful economic force on earth, women, by creating innovative, intimate, and inspiring ways for us to participate in alternative funding. Forget the old boys club and the endless no's from the traditional investors. Hailey's vision is about putting financial decision-making power directly into the hands of diverse, independent capital allocators where it belongs. But let's be real, Hailey's story isn't just about business. This woman has lived. She's traveled over 50 countries, witnessing firsthand the grit and grace of women who've turned their worst nightmares into lives of purpose. She's seen what women are capable of when they're given the space and the support to self-actualize. So for the time she's here, Hailey is creating those spaces. She's building a legacy that's all about supporting female visionaries as they blaze their own trails. Hailey, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Amen. That was such a great intro.
So let's start with, how the fuck are you? What's going on?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I am so excited to be talking to you. I think it's so fitting too, because I had this whole vision in my head that this morning is going to be so chill. I'm going to make a matcha. I'm going to chat with Megan. And when I say shit is literally crashing around me, I'm serious. So I'm good. I'm just taking everything in with a lot of humor and just embracing what's also a really poignant chapter of my life right now, where I have absolutely zero investment in presenting as someone or something I'm not. So I'm just so excited to talk to you.
Aw, me too. I'm so glad we found a time. You know, it's massive time zone change. So it's always a little bit complicated. And I'm glad that we got to have this conversation sooner rather than later. Because I really wanted to touch base with you as you're in this, vulnerable, delicate time in terms of you're still building the thing. So at what point in your life did you think, oh, I should become a female founder in tech?
So it was a couple weeks into doing my MBA, and I was having a complete crises. I was on the phone, I was crying to an ex-boyfriend who didn't believe in the gender funding gap or the gender pay gap, which was fun. And just really,
Yeah.
right, exactly. Oh my gosh. But yeah, I was really panicking because for the few years before I started my MBA, I thought I was going to be a corporate energy consultant. And as soon as I started my MBA, which was in energy and sustainable development management, I realized I really don't want to do this. So I was pretty devastated. I didn't want to disappoint everyone. And one of my closest friends who moved in next to me at the time, truly like a soul family member, she was like, Hailey, why don't you create something of your own? You're a really powerful creator. Why don't you do your own thing? And immediately it came to me. I was like, women and money. And that kind of threw me into another crisis because I was like, wait, I'm terrible at math. What does this mean? Am I going to go into cryptocurrency? Like, how is this going to work? But throughout the years of just really getting to know who I am and what I want to do in this short life, it became clear to me that I was going to build a tech company, and I, did the rounds with that and then came to crowdfunding as the funding model. So yeah, it's sort of like everything in my life that was just so unbelievably right and destined, dare I say, it just sort of unfolded really organically. And I was like, wait, okay, I'm here. I'm doing this. So yeah, that's kind of how it unfolded.
I love that you were going to be a corporate baddie, but yeah, no. So not sure you would have lasted very long had you gone down that path. Well, next I wanted to ask you about, well, first your Instagram content lately, or, I think since you really started um, upping the frequency is on fire. And I love how you're
Yeah.
really educating people slash women. And I know the space as an impact angel investor, a lot of what you're talking about, but I really love how you break it down. And I think it's often shocking that so many, well, I mean, bless the women that just start something and they really have no idea what they're doing. We're all kind of in that boat, right?
Totally.
At the
Yeah.
same time, you could like very quickly get the wrong advice and you feel like you're being held and it's a great opportunity. Like some investor comes out of the woodworks and just wants to do all the things that making your life easier. And not really understanding, even what equity is or how complicated the cap table can become once you start giving away things in a way that you're not really before you understand like the whole big picture. And
Mhm.
I know here in Canada and somewhat in the US there are many programs that founders can get into. But what are you seeing that's still like I feel like there's sort of this in the ecosystem of the startup space, there's a lot of myths and misunderstandings of what crowdfunding is or isn't. And really, you're doing it differently anyway. So tell us about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I really feel like with each passing day, I just become more and more aware of the fact that not only obviously do we have a serious gender funding gap, but there's a serious education gap. And although I have really fought with my ego just in terms of like, we haven't launched yet and why am I still going through this? I think it's been really important for me to also really learn about the women who I'm serving and what we're all up against. That's, it's not just that I'm in a different boat from the women who I hope will be using the platform. I'm very much experiencing the ebbs and flows of bootstrapping and fundraising with those women. So thank you about the Instagram content. You definitely know a bit about my history and just my relationship with creating content and my fraught relationship with social media. But I'm just, I'm feeling more passionate than I ever have because it's just so evident to me that we have a serious problem when it comes to funding female-led businesses and with female founders being so desperate to raise funding that they're ending up in really precarious financial situations by not understanding what it means to, take on equity investments at, what a cap table is and so on and so forth. And so I feel that we're so close to beta testing. We're basically done. I know. I know that's been a whole other thing. Very exciting. But in the meantime, I think it's really important to be educating the community about, why alternative funding routes, specifically for female founders, are so important, why they're so efficient, why they can be so empowering as well. And I know that's kind of like a red flag word for a lot of people, but I can honestly say in my own experience, it wasn't until I experienced myself as a powerful, independent capital allocator that I really felt like I had control over my life and my future. So I'm focusing more on education on Instagram, even if that means, and please believe me when I say I confront this every day of my life, sometimes it's really not algorithm friendly. Sometimes people are like, that's not fun. It's not entertaining. I came here to chill. But I really feel like over time, more and more women are going to be like, hey, this resonates. I think this is important. And yeah, I think just having a foundational understanding about why platforms like KAIA are, I mean, I think revolutionary and truly a part of the future is really important for women who are quietly struggling with funding their businesses.
Yeah, that means so much. I mean, your people are going to find you. It's so juicy, your content.
Thank you.
I let's paint the picture of what it's going to do. Like if you're a founder or if you're someone who wants to support a founder, like the current platforms like WeFunder, for example, I've invested in a few things, and to be honest, I don't really know the ins and outs of which of those platforms is better for founders because I haven't been on that end yet. I'm sure you do. And what is the advantage? I mean, I can say from an investor standpoint, I love that, with sometimes as little as $100, you can feel like a part of someone's dream of something that's gonna make people or planet or both better, and you believe in their mission. And of course, you can always invest more. But how is it unique, KAIA, and why did you feel like what's out there is not working?
Yeah. I mean, I think I'll firstly say that I don't think there's one specific funding route that is appropriate for everybody. Some are really so much better suited to founders at varying stages of development. And I'm certainly not against equity crowdfunding, even venture. I mean, that's a whole other thing. But so with KAIA is a donation and rewards based crowdfunding platform. I mean, that's the funding aspect to it. It's actually a funding marketplace. And I'm happy to get into that. But the reason why I decided on donation and rewards based crowdfunding was I wanted to keep founders safe, firstly. Because, yes, I mean, of course, WeFunder, Republic, those platforms can be incredible. But I have heard from a lot of founders who wish that they maybe took a different route again because they didn't understand what it means to relinquish equity. And with these platforms, I mean, there are certainly some where you absolutely have to be an accredited investor, but for others, you don't. And so what does that mean? You've got people investing in your company who don't understand diversity, don't understand really like the basics of investing, and they get upset. They didn't understand what they were getting themselves into. Founders didn't understand how that impacts their revenue, um, ownership, so on and so forth. And so I gave a lot of thought to it because I was like, right, how can I mass incentivize the most powerful economic body on earth, most of whom have never received a financial education? That was really core to it because I think in the spaces that you and I are in, and I forget about this a lot. It's like, of course, everybody knows about investing. Everybody's got a financial education. Everybody's doing X, Y, and Z. But we represent a really small percentage of the female collective. And so I really was thinking about, right, how can I keep founders safe? How can I keep contributors safe? And how can I make the platform something that's really exciting and inspiring and alluring and something that everybody can fall in love with? Um, yeah, I just realized like if I were to pitch this platform as like, hey, you can discover incredible female-led brands, you can have personal interactions with the founders, um, and be a part of their journey, but you have to equity invest. It's like absolutely not. No, for most women that would not land. So that's where the funding marketplace comes in. I have been deeply, deeply inspired by Built. I don't know if you're familiar.
Not really. I mean, I feel like I heard of it, but no, tell me.
So Built, basically, you earn points towards your rent by like making your rent. So you use Built has a credit card, you pay your rent through it, you earn airline miles, credit card points, so on and so forth. And I really loved that idea. And I was already sort of thinking about it. But when I discovered that company, I was like, wow, okay, proof of concept. This has already been done. What could I do through KAIA, again, to mass incentivize as many women as possible, and get them really excited and inspired as well, um, to use the platform? So I was like, right, okay, sure, products are exciting, right? Like, okay, we love discounts on our favorite stuff. But what if, say, a new mother could come to the platform, first time new mom, and she contributed maybe $300 to a campaign launched by founders who are creating incredible products for babies, clean, healthy products. And then she could get 25% off at her local doula center, things like that. So it's like, how do I make this really meaningful? In the future, I would love to be able to create something where contributors can earn credit card points potentially. I know what that means, so I don't want to like throw that out there too hard. Um, but yeah, discounts on things that really matter. So yes, fun things, but also healthcare services and things like that. So I'm getting really creative with who I want to bring on to be a rewards partner. So yeah, there's so many details to it. It's so multifaceted. So I hope that was clear.
Yeah. Except, yeah, yeah, the complexity of figuring out all the people that are going to be involved
Yeah.
is massive.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, I guess in simple terms, like it's a place where female founders can raise democratized funding from their communities. Contributors can come, discover incredible female led businesses, have personal, intimate experiences with founders, and earn rewards that matter in their lives, that are really designed to elevate their lives, whether that be 15% off, say, an Uber ride, or, 20% off of products that they really love. I want to make funding women feel truly meaningful.
Hmm. And I feel like inadvertently you're just going to create this incredible community.
Thank you. That is really the goal. That's always been core to the vision.
So what have been some of the bigger obstacles?
Where do I begin? Um, I will say that I went into this having absolutely no idea what I was getting myself into. My mom in like the earliest days, she was like, "So how are you going to build this?" And I was like, "Oh, I'll just throw it up on Squarespace. Integrate some plugins, it'll be fine." Absolutely not. Um, like not
How
even a
long
little.
ago was that idea?
Years ago, years ago. Um, yeah, that was pretty confronting, realizing I had to hire an entire team and build a custom system. But I mean, I think one of the things about entrepreneurship that I love so much is that you learn so quickly. It's like one of the biggest learning curves of my life. So I guess I'll start with something that continues to come up and truly has been one of the biggest hurdles, has been confronting myself, limiting beliefs that I've carried my entire life, ego deaths. I truly feel like my ego dies a little bit with every passing day. um, so yeah, really being in relationship with myself, firstly. Nothing has brought out um what compromises me quite like entrepreneurship. And then I think just learning, doing something I've never done before by myself and figuring out how the fuck I'm going to do, the 50 things that I have on my plate that I need to have done by a certain due date. Um, that has been challenging. Of course, funding. I have bootstrapped KAIA all the way up until now. That is going to change very soon. But that's also been unbelievably confronting, very, very scary. I have overstepped so many of my own financial boundaries along the way. So I really deeply resonate again with the founders who KAIA is serving. And I think just the tech, I'm not a technical founder. I had no idea how long this would take. You were there back in November when I needed to pause beta testing because, that was a whole story. It was just evident to me that things were not where I wanted them to be, and I could not move forward with the tech team that I had previously. And so, um, yeah, that was challenging as well. I mean, if I'm being honest, I really don't know what about this journey has not been really challenging. Like, it's,
It's kind of entrepreneurship in a nutshell. Like, well, what's
yeah.
the challenge today? And
Yeah, I think it's like what hasn't been challenging, and I could tell you, I mean, I don't know, actually.
well, and I mean, it's just must be extremely complex. It's so important when we're talking about people's money
Yeah.
that it's solid, then that you feel like you want it to be where it needs to be, even under the umbrella of beta testing, and there's going to be some hiccups and
Mhm. Mhm. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, KAIA is technically categorized as a financial technology company. And so anything that has to do with payments, it really needs to be solid and secure. And I personally need to feel 100% confident with the tech team that I have. And the thing is, too, it's also a deeply emotional company. Fundraising is very, very emotional, especially to bootstrapping female founders who are being confronted now, of course, with, the situation with tariffs in the United States. And so, yeah, that was a hard one, but I really needed to make that call of postponing beta because I want to do everything in my power to take care of my beta testers and my users. And I just did not feel like that would be able to happen back in November.
hmm. So I have these experiences once in a while where something's happening in my business, or where, the vision of where I want a business to go, and it brings me back to something that happened to me like a really long time ago that's generally speaking unrelated to the problem I'm trying to solve. And I think, oh, maybe that's why that happened, because it doesn't really make sense. And it prepared me for this. So, like, one tiny example is, for a hot minute, I went into business and finance in university. I lasted like half a semester because I too cannot do math. Well, I was really good at math in high school, and then algebra, not so much, at least at the university level. It was the first time I ever got zero on an exam. I'm like, maybe I'm not supposed to do business. And now I'm coming like full circle back to the city where I grew up, and, really respected my father for being a very successful businessman. And that's kind of where I got that idea that that's what I should do. But I took a couple decades to get back to where I am now.
Hmm.
So I just feel like there's all often these like kind of flashback memories, or little chispas, I'm thinking in Spanish, like sparks of something where you're like, there's the alignment. This is where I'm supposed to be.
Totally. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. I can so resonate. I feel honestly like every day of my life, I carve out space to reflect on exactly what you've just described. Yeah. And I'm really embracing that now in my journey as well, of just being like, Hailey, you know what? History tends to repeat itself. And in that vein, it's really served me. Sometimes there are things that I was like, why can't I do this? Why hasn't this happened yet? And it was like, oh, it all made sense. Thank goodness it didn't happen then. Thank goodness it wasn't this thing. It wasn't this person. And so I've been holding that really closely to myself, especially as I look at what the plan is for the rest of this year and next year, it's like, okay, I don't know what's going to happen. It's out of my hands, truly. But I think in the end, everything really makes sense. And I love that about this life.
Hmm. And what about from all of your travels? How much of that influenced you to really focus on the gender funding gap, or just, not enough capital being in the hands of women, generally speaking?
So much. It's literally 2 days ago, I was here sitting at my desk, probably drinking methylene blue, to be honest. But I was getting really emotional because I was thinking about, even last year, I was staying with a Maasai community on the edge of the Masai Mara in Kenya. I had planned to spend a month with them, but ended up leaving after a week because there was a violent episode with one of the male community leaders that was directed at me and one of the younger Maasai women. And, while I was there, I was speaking to the ones who could speak English about what their dreams were. And every single one of them said that they would build a business. And of course, I asked, well, why can't you? And aside from just sort of their place in their society, it had to do with funding. And throughout the years when I was so thinking I was going to go into corporate energy consulting, I really had the privilege of working with a lot of female founders from all walks of life, right? Like, I mean, the first one I ever met, she was from very like high society Beirut. Um, Such an interesting woman, so powerful. And she shared with me her struggles of being this woman who came from a lot of privilege, but building a business as a woman in the Middle East, what that meant for her. And throughout the years, I did extensive grant proposal writing, credit line research. After my studies, I worked pro bono with a lot of female founders as well, not just from the United States, but sub-Saharan Africa, Asia, the Middle East, South America, and really was so, so privileged to have been able to not just connect with these founders over a Zoom call, but to travel to their countries, to be with them in their community, to stay under their roofs, to sit on their floors breaking bread with them and hearing, listening to their stories for hours about what it has meant for them as a woman to create a business in a world that is not designed to support women to do that. And so ultimately everything came together and it all made sense. And it's funny because it still continues to happen, where it's like, I will meet a woman who maybe not necessarily knows anything about KAIA, or like we're not talking about KAIA, and she'll kind of like go into her story about starting a business and financing it. And I'm like, wow, this is obviously really a massive part of my path that I just all over the world, I meet women who really, really want to lead a business and create something that matters to them. So, yeah, I've met women all over the world who have expressed that desire to me, and also their pain points about why they can't start a business or why it's been so difficult to fund it.
Hmm. Okay, two follow-up threads there. So one is, every time I've heard you talk about this, I always, and correct me if I'm wrong, it doesn't resonate. I kind of feel like it had some roots in the success that is microloans, primarily that I've seen in Africa. It does exist. I know in certain parts of South America as well. I don't know anything about the Middle East specifically, but just this idea that if at the end of the day, if a society or a body that has funds gives really small amounts of money as a loan to a woman, she's going to make a really good use of it.
Absolutely.
I don't know exactly what statistics are, but it's
Yeah.
dramatically better use and decisions with this money than if you gave it to a male counterpart. Uh and ultimately it's just allowing them to really make a difference in their lives in their communities. And so
Mhm.
when you're talking about crowdfunding, I feel like I know it's not exactly the same thing, but it's the idea of how powerful even just a small bit of support and confidence in someone's vision can be.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. And what's so great about donation and rewards-based crowdfunding is that there's no interest. It's debt-free, it's risk-free. On KAIA, even if founders don't meet their raise goal, they still get what they've raised with, the platform deduction fee, which is 5%. But yeah, it's absolutely true. And I really learned about that when I was on the African continent. That really started in East Africa. I was in Ethiopia and I was writing a grant proposal for a female-led company that provided renewable energy products to rural communities across the country. It was, such an incredible business. And they provided, they worked with lenders to provide microloans to members of the communities. And they always gave those loans to women. It was really a no-brainer. And just reading the statistics and the research on it and the case studies, it is always a good idea to be placing money into the hands of female leaders. Communities thrive, children are healthier, people live longer. It's really, really important. And I meditate on this a lot, and I've lost a lot of sleep thinking about these things as well. But yeah, there's so many myths also around crowdfunding, and I really want to work to demystify them because they're just not true. For example, like, you can't raise a lot of money crowdfunding. That's absolutely not true. We saw the founders of Female Invest raise $1 million in 4 minutes.
That's insane.
Right. They broke like 6 world records. That was equity crowdfunding, but regardless, I don't think one is more superior to the other. I think, again, it just really depends
You
on
just need to understand what you're getting yourself into.
totally like what's the right fit for you as a founder and for your company. Yeah. So yes, absolutely. All over the world, like, placing money into the hands of women is wise, especially because women have a history of creating credit unions, tontines, Roscas. Like, this is literally a part of women's history. And I'm really careful now, actually. I love history. I love reading history books with with like who wrote what I'm reading.
Mm.
And it's so sad because so much has been lost to the world because it's been predominantly men who have wrote about history. But women funding women, female funded ecosystems, we're masters at doing this. Absolutely. There's just a long history of us doing this globally. So this is actually really our strong point. This is where we thrive. We're masters at this.
Yes. And I'm pretty sure the stat is 35% better women's businesses do when they're run by women.
Yep. Absolutely.
Or at least have one female leader. But yeah, I would love if we could just sort of wax and wane a little bit of the current, not going down any rabbit holes, but geopolitical reality that it is technically and theoretically easier for anyone to start a business now than any time in history, depending on what kind of business I think we're talking about here. But I also know that you and I are in this bubble that we can, we have so many people in our network that are doing something like that. But still, I do feel like it is this massive wave, and particularly of women, not just starting a side hustle, but really being like, oh no, like, what empire could I build that will touch the lives, or like, they're solving a specific problem, but the vision is bigger, and there's just more women coming to the table with that same ambition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I think I'm not interested in like the cutesiness, right? Or the presentation of starting something. Yeah, I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, but I think more and more women are really understanding how important it is to start businesses, and how for many of us, in a way, it's kind of the only route we can take to truly live the lives that we want to live. I think women, social media is pretty poisonous, but there are corners of the internet that I absolutely love right now. And those are the corners where women are realizing that we've been indoctrinated, that, you know, everything that we've been told would lead to a happy and successful life is absolutely bullshit. I really could get on my soapbox. I won't. Um, but
Reach into the
that
choir. Yeah.
Right, I know, right, exactly. Um, but that really the route to not just financial independence and generational wealth, but in order to experience ourselves as truly self-actualized, you know, to live a to look back on our lives and be like, wow, I really did that thing that I was so passionate about. And I did it during a time when essentially the patriarchy was in flames. So, yeah, we are seeing a lot of women who are building impact driven businesses that are deeply mission led. And I am so fucking here for it. I can swear on this, but we've been swearing on
We've
this
been
podcast.
swearing. It's
Okay, okay. I'm from
we
the
swear.
Midwest. Like there's no way around this. Um yeah, but it's really exciting to see, and the more I see it and the more I also understand that women are turning away from traditional funding routes, I'm like, I am here for this. There's no way I'm not going to be a part of this. There's no way I'm not going to build the most incredible alternative funding marketplace I can to support these amazing women who are like, you know what? We're not doing what these men said is going to lead to, you know, whatever the fuck they say. So yeah, yeah, it's exciting. It's a scary time, but it's such an exciting time as well.
Yes. So let's go a little bit down the self-actualization uh thread, because a lot of my clients are deeply committed to birthing their business as they're mothering, as they're birthing babies, as they're incubating babies, and like just that sort of deeper connection in why women are the true creators, and really just much more built for this sort of expansion that's required for true change.
Yep, absolutely. I was thinking about this last night, how we are designed to play the long game, which in entrepreneurship is so essential. And I'm saying this as a really early stage founder, right? But that's so evident to me. Just our entire constitution is designed to incubate, to nurture, to grow, to birth something and to stick it out for the long run. It's just in our, I would also say, cosmic makeup. You know, I'm not going to not reference that I'm a Pisces, so of course I'm going to go there. Um but yeah, and I think also on top of this, and I don't want to go on a tangent, but I also give a lot of thought to like this crazy amount of bullshit that we're seeing on social media with like the masculine and the feminine, and like this is feminine, this is masculine, and this obsession with like a hyper feminine presentation, and this just very like baseless belief that like, oh, women are only, you know, nurturers or whatever. And I'm like, no, 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 no. Like, we need to look at history. Like, for example, the Haenyeo women on Jeju Island in South Korea. Those women were responsible for feeding and sustaining their communities. They woke up at ungodly hours in the morning. Korea is just below Russia in freezing temperatures, um, pregnant, on their periods, going through menopause, diving into deep Arctic waters without sufficient gear, and fishing for their entire community every single day, 365 days a year. That is so feminine to me. I think women are just so absolutely perfect for entrepreneurship. Of course, it's not everybody's path, and that's completely understandable. But by design, I think we're just built to be superior leaders, frankly.
Mm, I love that. So, besides following you on Instagram, if you're a founder that might be looking for funding in the next, are we putting a window on it? This is probably going to be out in September, so you can.
Yeah, I'm like, when I say I'm probably like a meme at this point, I mean it. Um, I am pushing so hard to beta, and I'm like, we're launching this year. Like, there's no way we're not launching this year. Like, I'm not ending this year without KAIA being launched. So anyway, yes, the test server is pretty much ready to go. I will be reaching out to my beta group before the end of this week. We're looking at beta testing within the next couple of weeks. And then after that, there are some things that I'm putting together. I've mentioned to you, like, separately. And then, yeah, I'm looking at launching Northern Hemisphere fall,
Mm.
like latest.
Can't wait. So, yeah, best place to follow you and follow this journey.
I think the best place is probably on Instagram. The handle is KAIA Women, KAIA Women. I'm on LinkedIn. Not like I'm on Instagram though. I feel really strongly about building community and again focusing on education and so yeah, I do have a LinkedIn as well, but I would say I would head to the Instagram.
Yeah, I think both you and I, we do LinkedIn well, but feel a little bit more comfortable in the Instagram
Totally.
dose of just say whatever the fuck you want and swear.
Right, absolutely. And I saw a meme, I love memes, like, in the maybe, like, 10 minutes a day, I give myself to not be, like, heads down building this business. I saw a meme and it was like, "Do people on LinkedIn know we're gonna die someday?" I
I've
mean,
seen some good ones that are, yeah, making fun of LinkedIn, and I'm like, yeah, that's funny because it's so true. That's like just congratulating each other, and there's like nothing's ever political. Anyway, I feel like, yeah, we need to KAIA. Why KAIA?
w for me as KAIA's founder, it just is an absolute no-brainer. You can raise debt-free, risk-free funding from people who are obsessed with your company, make meaningful connections with your community, refine, pivot, do whatever you need to do to create the most incredible company you possibly can without putting yourself through the insurmountable stress of raising equity investments before you're ready. For contributors, I personally feel so tired of just constantly being subjected to the onslaught of, brands that don't resonate with me. And it's a place where contributors can really come and experience themselves again as very powerful financial decision makers, discover businesses you want to see in the world that you believe in, that you want to purchase from, which I think ultimately leads to the experience of real sovereignty and being in community with people who you believe in. And of course, reap the benefits of it. Enjoy the way that the platform is treating our contributors. So I just feel like, why would you not come? It's just such an epic platform. I'm so excited about it. I have massive plans for the platform. And I'm just so excited about people coming and being a part of the journey. So, like, come.
Mm. All right, last question. I have to ask as your sub wellness coach. What are your non-negotiables in terms of taking care of yourself? Because I know you have extensive routines.
Yeah. Firstly, sleep. My entire day revolves around sleep. Um, that has changed my life. I so I'm in the Southern Hemisphere right now. So it's the winter, it gets dark early. I really try and have my lights out between 7:30 and 8:30 p.m. I like an eye mask, red lights. I try not to listen to anything to spike my cortisol. I like to have reishi before bed and magnesium. It's just so evident to me that if I'm not getting excellent sleep, I cannot show up as the founder that I know I need to show up as. I've been dosing with methylene blue. That has honestly been life-changing. It has not just stabilized my mood, but elevated my mood. It's great for energy. It really mops free radicals. I feel like in my yoga practice as well, I practice pretty athletic yoga most days of the week, also reformer Pilates. Super important to move my body, especially as someone who absorbs a lot in my body. What else? I love Shilajit. I love that as like an afternoon pick me up. I don't drink coffee. Love matcha. I have usually like a couple matchas a day. Um,
You eat very
and
healthy.
I'm really healthy. I'm also 6 years vegan and
There we
don't,
go.
you know, yeah, really don't eat a lot of processed foods, drink a hell of a lot of water. Hydration is super important. And I'm always just really trying to connect with me separately from KAIA. I'm doing a certification in a completely different realm. And it's just really important for me to nurture my relationship with myself. And so I love like those moments. Like the other day, I was walking back from like a really hard yoga class and I was like, Hailey, I'm so proud of you. Like, planning like just meaningful things in my future to just do with me. So, yeah, I would say those are kind of my like wellness non-negotiables.
Beautiful. I had to ask because you're just always glowing, 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 glowing.
Thank you.
Um, yeah, I found just saying I love you to myself quietly. If I can't fall asleep or something, it's like, I love you. It's just like that calming.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I love that you're
Okay.
nurturing your relationship with yourself. And I'll ask you more questions about that offline because I know what it is.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's so
All right.
important.
Well, I know you and I could talk for a long time, but let's land this plane. And I hope you reach out to Hailey and connect and watch all of her incredible educational content. It's got a little sass, but it's very educational.
Yeah, it's
Telling it
necessary.
like it is, and it's got great graphics. So thank you so much for being here and doing this. And yeah, can't wait for KAIA.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. This was so exciting when you asked. Like any opportunity to connect with you, I'm like, yes.
Thank you. We'll be in touch. Thanks so much for tuning in to Wellness as a Way of Life for Women Building the Future. I'm Megan Swan, and I'm honored to support your journey to well-being and leadership. For more insights, resources, and connections, subscribe to my Substack through the link in this episode. It is your go-to hub for wellness strategies, and there's free and premium content. Let's keep building a brighter, healthier future together. Until next time, take care and lead well.